Why do white people not care?
I don't think it's that white people don't care. I think it's difficult for people to put themselves in other people's shoes sometimes when it's something that they don't experience.
I think white people don't care because they're not ready.
Because caring means that they have to admit that race is still an issue in the United States.
And it's scaring people because we hear about history books and now it's just coming back to us.
When you think about things like inequality, injustice, oppression, those are really heavy, really painful burdens to carry. And I think it's natural for communities that face those struggles to care. Their survival depends on it.
If you haven't had a friend that you deeply care for that has gone through the things that people are trying to stand up and show people, then how can you ever relate to it? And how could you care about that?
And like people are starting to find themselves taking sides now. And it's just a different atmosphere about race that we haven't had in a pretty long time. So this is just it's new for people of our age group to experience talking about race in a very confrontational way.
While they might need to care, it's really exhausting and it's hard.
We've been raised in an era of colorblindness where everyone is taught that we don't see color. I treat everyone equally. And to care about what's happening recently is to admit that race is still an issue, which goes against what has been thoroughly ingrained in people their entire lives.
And I imagine asking the white community, which is removed from these struggles and in many ways is perpetuating them, asking that community to care is asking for a lot of empathy and compassion from them. And I think a lot of members of my community are not ready to extend that kind of compassion and empathy to the Black community.
As a white person, I can very much see how it would be difficult to take a stance on what is being portrayed as a Black issue and having your opinion be taken seriously.
So I wouldn't say that they don't care, I just feel like it's a lack of understanding.
So why are Black people making it about race?
Black people aren't making it about race. It is about race. It's not a question of opinion, it's a statement of fact. I've had one major encounter with the police in my life. I was in 7th grade. Got out of school, what was that, like 12, 13, maybe? So a couple of friends and I walked to a corner store a couple blocks away because one of my friends was craving a particular kind of juice. On our way back, because we had to walk all the way back to our bus stop, however, we were stopped on that corner by the police we just passed. They were talking to this lady and we were being pointed at, and one of the cops finally came over and said, okay, we have reason to believe that you guys attacked this lady and stole her shoes and threw them onto a telephone pole. And basically what had come of the interaction between the cops and this Mexican lady was that some Black kids stole my shoes. We were being typecast as those Black kids. I don't think any of us had the arm to throw a pair of shoes over a telephone pole, but we were Black, we fit the mold, and therefore we were the suspects. It was that run-in with the police where I was like, wow, this is a legitimate reality, and if I'm not careful, I will find myself in a situation where I'm being blamed for something I probably didn't do. The way the cops approach the situation, I feel stems from the way that young Black men have been portrayed in the past and are still portrayed. And the baseline perception of young Black men is that they are thugs, they're hooligans, they're up to no good. Then other people who don't fit that baseline are exceptions. And even if you don't consciously acknowledge that these are negative stereotypes that are put on to Black people, they have been deeply ingrained in us as a society, both white and Black people. When I see Black people I don't know, I tense up because I don't know if they might be dangerous, because I've been force-fed this narrative that Black men are dangerous. To the point where I, as a Black man who doesn't find myself dangerous, believes this narrative that we're being force-fed means that it becomes a lot easier for someone who is not a Black man to believe this narrative, even if they realize it or not. So when on a societal level, we are pushing this narrative down people's throat without giving much to the counter, then it's not hard to see why a cop might think, a black person is suspicious, a black person might be up to no good.
I think like black people are making it about race because that is one of the big things. Like it's one of the big influences. Like I think it's part police brutality. Like that's one of the big things, and then part like police brutality being targeted at black people. And that's why this is a racist, and that's why they're making it racist, because they are the ones being targeted. It's just like people who graduated from my high school that I played football with, like they're black, and like my area is like really, it's a suburban area, like it's a really affluent area, and like they have told me that like, yeah, we get like looked at a little bit more by the cops. Like if we're walking down like one of the urban areas, like we're getting like they feel like they're getting looked at more, and like, they feel eyes on them. And I haven't seen anything too drastic. It's just they feel it, and I'm gonna take them seriously because there's a reason they're feeling it. There's certain things that's happening, and that's why they feel it, and that's important.
We're not making it about race, it's actually about race. And now people are saying, like, why are you saying that you're hurt? Like, get up, you know? And I don't know, it sucks to hear that. Like, it's hard for the people that are the most hurt by this, that are directly impacted, directly thinking about their families that will be impacted by this, thinking about their children that are going to grow up in this, that are being told to stop worrying about it. Like, why are you concerned?
I don't think black people are making it about race. I think it is about race. For me, I feel like people are tired. For me, I'm tired of seeing people that look like me going through things like this. This isn't an isolated incident. It happens all the time. And I feel like that's what people are failing to realize. With law enforcement, this is like our reality. This is our everyday lives. I'm from New York, and I see things like this happen. Not necessarily, it might not lead to death, but I see profiling happen. I see stop and frisk happen. And that's about race. And it all leads up to things like this. And until people acknowledge that, things like this are just going to continue to happen. So for me, I have an older brother. And it's really weird growing up hearing your dad tell him not to wear certain things because if something happens, he would fit a description. And that's scary to me because this is someone who I care about and I love so much. So to even have that have to be explained is it doesn't sit well. It's very disheartening to me. Like I said, it's my reality and this is my everyday life for me and for people that I care about. Which to me like relates back to maybe why do white people not care? If you can't relate to that, maybe that's why they lack that understanding.
I actually think white people were the ones who made it about race first. The profiling that's done by police, the kind of aggressions that are done to people of color, they're typically coming from white people, especially in these situations. And I think there's a tendency from white people to blame black people for making it about race, but truth is, by doing racist actions and by profiling certain racial groups, white people actually started it first.
That's it.